Hello, Internet! Welcome to Dokkan Theory, the game where they absolutely despise the Saiyan Saga. Memes aside, guys. How's it going, everybody? It is your boy Luna the Programmer, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how much they despise the Saiyan Saga, even when they give it a 200% lead. So, as you can see here, we have the brand new April Fool's unit, and I swear to God they made him bad on purpose because it's April Fool's. He has Saiyan Saga, or Pure Saiyans, category 3 key, HP defense 170. Then he has an additional 30% for space traveling warriors. So that means that Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, all those characters get 200%. And you're like, yes, that's good. And it is good. The lead is quite good. I like it a lot. Greatly raises attack and defense for a turn. You're like, yeah, that's good. And then he causes supreme damage to all enemies. And it's like, okay, why? Why? Because we just finished taking a look at Int Majin Vegeta, who has an AoE. Granted, it is on his active skill, so it will not be happening as often as a Raditz super attack, admittedly. But, they didn't have a problem giving him a good multiplier. Supreme damage, really? Kind of an L. Combine that with the fact that you see Raditz has barely over 16,000 attack, which is not super great. Not super great considering that his links, he has Coward. Well, actually, Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Roaring Race, Brutal Beat Down is not bad. Nightmare is not bad. Prepare for battle, first battle. They're not bad. It's just Coward that's the main problem. So they actually are decent links. Let me take that back. It is decent links. But it's just, why? So let's take a look at the kit. 150% attack and defense. Okay. Plus an additional 50% when performing a super attack. Okay. And then you realize it's when facing only one enemy. So it's like, bruh moment. I don't know why they had to give that condition. Super Battle Road, he's not going to be looking too hot, especially at flat dupe. Especially at flat dupe. Like, bruh, with that 8k defense, 13k attack, yeah, he's not going to be looking too hot at flat dupe there. Plus an additional 100% attack and a high chance of performing a critical hit when performing a super attack on an enemy whose HP is 50% or less. Again, why? A pointless restriction. 50% or less, which means that, yeah, he's going to be doing supreme damage to all enemies. But he's only going to be having 150% attack and defense to start because some of these conditions are a little annoying. So you're like, okay, supreme damage to all enemies. That means you want to run him in Super Battle Road, where there's a high chance you get a bunch of enemies. But then he gets an additional 50% when facing only one enemy. You're like, okay, so obviously that means I'm meant to bring him into more difficult content where there's generally only one enemy at a time. So, but then you realize, okay, so he gets that, but then he's only getting his additional 100% as well as high chance to perform a crit if that enemy is 50% or less. Meaning he's not going to be getting that until several turns in. You're like, okay. So, that means, clearly, I want to, bring him somewhere else. So he gets his additional defense plus 150% and performs a critical hit within the same term after receiving attack, by the way. After receiving attack, meaning he has to be slot 1 when facing 2 or more enemies. So there goes, because you're like, okay, is his defense good enough for you to put him in that slot 1? No. No, it's not. So you got, okay, Super Battle Road, I get the 150, right? But that's after receiving an attack. Okay? Then he gets 2 key for the rest of the battle after living a final blow, which is whatever. That doesn't really affect him in any meaningful way. His ult is good. Sorry, his ult. I've been playing too much Grand Cross. His active skill is good. It's whatever, stuns the enemy. But then can activate it only when facing one enemy. So which is it? Is he supposed to be used on difficult content where you're usually facing only one enemy at a time, or is he supposed to be used in difficult content where you're facing multiple enemies? It seems that he's being dragged between both of them, and it seems that it will be rare for you to get his well, actually, it is impossible for you to get his full passive, because his passive requires either one enemy or two or more enemies for you to get the full part. So you're never going to be getting his absolute max passive ever. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I can tell you, it is impossible for you to get his absolute max passive. So, it's either you're getting the 150 plus 50, right? And the additional 100, or you're getting the 150 plus defense 150, right? And maybe that 100. And he is greatly raising for a turn. Like, he is not, I don't want to say he's garbage per se, because I think he's quite good theoretically. But the problem I have here is that this is our Saiyan Saga leader, my friend, and he, I think we can comfortably agree on, is worse than the majority, if not all, units released this year. Because he's worse than Matcha Vegeta, right? Depending on how you mean, you might say he's worse than his banner unit, okay? So his links are the same lineage, same warrior race, Coward. Like I said, Coward is the only one that works. The rest of them are okay. Low-class warrior, pure Saiyans, Goku fam, terrifying conqueror, space traveling warriors, and of course, he introduces Saiyan Saga. His additional boosts are calculated separately, so he gets 275 when wearing a super, plus an additional 525 if the enemy is below 50%, which is quite good. Take a look at the comments here. Imagine if he was part of the April Fool's joke and they release his real passive. 2022 DFE, that's an AOU unit, and he's just not worth running. Yeah, because again, he's being torn between wanting single target enemies and wanting multiple enemies. It's very strange the way that they decided to design this unit. Very weird. Thankfully, they learned their lesson with my boy Nappa. So Nappa, Saiyan Saga lead, of course, 130%. He greatly raises his defense for a turn and causes supreme damage to an enemy. But unlike with RADITZ, at least he's not the DFE, so him having supreme damage is somewhat acceptable. 178% attack, and then he raises his defense by up to 780%. The more HP remaining, the greater the stats boost. Plus an additional 78% when facing only one enemy. Saiyan Saga category allies 2 keen 30% to stats. Then he gets an additional Saiyan Saga category ally 7% attack and 8% defense per existing superclass enemy. His active skill lowers attack by 81% and defense by 81. Lowers attack by 31%, defense by 81%, and seals super attack. Can be activated when facing 3 or more enemies, or after a character receives an attack 6 or more times in a battle. And he has brutal beatdown, Saiyan warrior base, Infighter, Berserkers, Tough as Nails, Shocking Speed, and Fierce Battle. And he's on the related categories. So, this is the thing. So you're like, okay, Raditz is clearly the slot 1 unit, because with 780% defense, even with a 10k defense stat, that's still quite high, right? His overall defense will still be quite high, plus he's greatly raising. So you're like, okay, Raditz is the slot 1. Sorry, Nappa is the slot 1 unit. Right? And that makes sense. But then you're like, okay, well, what happens to Raditz? Because he's not going to be able to get this. Well, I mean, he will, but it will matter less. You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, his active skill is only when facing 3 or more times in a battle. But again, that's when facing only one enemy. Right? When clearly he's built for Super Battle Road. Right? Super Battle Road. Like, I don't understand what is his design philosophy? Like with Nappa, it makes sense. He's a tank slash support, right? Makes sense. What is Raditz? It's supposed to be single target, multi target, defensive unit. Like what is going on here? It doesn't make sense, right? And it is a rather disappointing start to the Saiyan Saga category because again, the video that I made a few weeks ago about the LRs, the Kaioken Goku and the Grade 8 Vegeta, shouldn't have been released, by the way. But besides that, Vegeta with his completely asinine link set will not be doing too great. Goku, until we get more units, like more recent units, because obviously there are a lot of units that fit in Saiyan Saga, but as well, more 2022 standard units, right? Because Raditz, and it seems to be the consensus of the community, you can look. It's so weird that they made the free-to-play unit summonable this time. Will his EZA area be arriving in part 2? His leader skill is easily the best part about him, and consider like if he came out 2 years ago, best unit in the game, no doubt, best unit in the game, because this would be OP. But in 2022, where we have things like 7th anniversary units, we have things like Majin Vegeta, hell, we have things like freaking Nappa, for Christ's sakes. Not saying that Nappa is the better unit per se, but I'm just saying Nappa's design is so much more clean. It's so much more clear-cut. The vision is clear. What is the vision for Raditz? And it's disappointing because Raditz is, the first big bad guy of Z, right? And they do him dirty this way. I just don't understand it. What were they thinking? Anyways, that's gonna do it for us this time. If if LR Nappa EZAs, that could be quite the rotation with these two. And thinking about it, you think about how many good units could be on the team. So you have, let's say you're just going balls to the wall. So you've got not Blue Kaioken, you've got Kaioken, you've got Grade 8, you've got this Nappa, you've got the potential LR Nappa, Raditz as a lead, obviously. Like I said, if Saiyan Saga gets a couple more units that are on a similar tier as Nappa design-wise, Raditz might not even fit on the team. Like that's the funny part. Raditz might not even fit on the team. Just food for thought as we end the video. So that's gonna do it for us this time. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video or think they should have done Raditz better. Leave a dislike if you enjoyed the video. Leave a dislike if you enjoyed the video. Wait, no. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. My name is Luna, also known as the Programmer, and I will catch you guys when they make a better Dokkan Fest. Like, goddamn. Bye.